First of all, we want to make sure that there's no wind. Protect your surrounding areas. Classic Organic Cleaner will remove oil, efflorescence, calcium. Go ahead and pour the organic cleaner into either pump that you want to use. The same pump that you're using right now for cleaning the concrete, you can also use it for applying stains or sealers. You just gotta clean them very well with plenty of water before you add the next product. Close the lid back on there nice and tight. Pump it as much as you can. Good pressure all the time. Now on really hot days, what we're gonna do is mist the surface first, cool down the surface, and then we can go ahead and apply the cleaner. Make sure I got good pump into this, nice and pressure. I'm going to pay very close attention to my expansion joints. That's where I'm going to start. Now you see this foaming effect? If you're not getting that, that means you have a sealer on the surface. So you make sure that you got to have that surface foaming. It's going to dry in some areas faster than others, but with the pressure washer you can mist some water on top of that and keep it activated. You're going to let that sit there for about 30 seconds. PSI we want to use for this process will be a 2700. Now that we have successfully cleaned the surface with the organic cleaner, we want to make sure that we rinse it off with the hose, especially when it's stamped concrete, you got texture. The pressure washer, clean it from this area, it'll shoot debris over to the other side. So when we're done, we're going to clean it all with a hose, rinse it all off. Now we're going to rinse the concrete. We definitely want to start at the high end and work ourselves to the lower section of the concrete. Now we're going to allow the concrete to dry and make sure we don't have any streak marks. If we have any streak marks, we have to clean that area again for a good stain or a good seal job. So you can see we cleaned the concrete the day before. Don't notice any streak marks at all. That means we have removed all the residue from the surface. Now we're about to stain. We really like to start early in the morning. You don't want the temperatures to be over 80. When you have over 80, your concrete is going to be most likely 90 to 100. Okay, so before we start, mix the color properly. The proper way to mix simple stain is not by shaking the gallon itself. We like to take it out and pour it into a 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 5 gallon pail and removing 80% of this. Now you're gonna notice some of the colors are gonna come out a little different. If you're using more than 1 gallon of the same color, I suggest that you mix them both together. I'm gonna leave about 80% into this gallon. Then I'm gonna shake this to break the color up. I'm also gonna tilt it, make sure there's no color sitting on the bottom of the gallon. I'm gonna pour it all together. I also like to come back and spin it with a mixing paddle. I do this for about 2 minutes. It's a good idea to have an extra pump with you, just in case one goes bad on you. You have a backup. Now, before I pour it into the pump, I like to run a mash through it just to catch any debris, anything that has fallen inside. And I'll use a cone and a 1 gallon mash. Keep in mind, if you're using more than 1 gallon of the same color, mix them together before you start using them. We're using a 1 gallon pump sprayer. We want to make sure that our tip is a cone tip, not a flat tip. You want to have good pressure. You also want to test your tip before you start applying it to the concrete. Make sure you get your expansion joints, get the color in there really good. Just in case you got any settling. And this pump is ready to go. We're gonna go clockwise this time. You need to mix it properly. And I normally like to leave 80%. In some cases, 2 or 3 fingers of liquid with the color. Close it really nice and tight. Pour that back in there. Look inside, there is no pigment sitting on the bottom. Close it. Paddle mix it, 2 to 3 minutes. For a two-tone effect, I like to use the smaller sprayers. You can control the color a lot better. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run it through a mash and a cone for about half of this. Fill it up halfway. When I'm doing a two-tone effects, I like to use the small pumps and a secondary pump of water alone. Okay, we're going to do light applications with the color and kind of lightly mist with water, especially on stamped concrete. That's going to push the color to the bottom of the stamped concrete. Check my tip. I am good. Here we go. This here you want to take nice and slow. Do it in sections. Randomly spraying the color, coming back right away with the water. The water helps it naturally flow into the creases of the stamped concrete. You can see I'm doing very little water, guys. Now that 3-4 hours has went by, we're going to start applying the high gloss sealer. I'm going to roll it on. It's a very fast drying sealer, perfect for backyard walkways and dryways. On dryways, you want to wait a minimum 5 to 7 days for it to cure out so you don't get the hot tire pickup. Mix that for about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to show you how to clean the roller from lint. So we like to run some tape over it to remove the lint from it so it doesn't become part of your sealer. Again, I like sealing early in the morning. Get your roller nice and wet. Work yourself in sections. Here we go. I always like it doing 2 applications. We're also using a 1/2-inch nap roller. We don't want to put a lot of pressure onto the roller. Just glide it over the concrete. We're gonna come the opposite way, just like we do the stain. First, I wipe my feet before I get onto the surface. Definitely want to do it early in the morning when it's not too hot, so you can stretch it and give you more square feet per gallon.